because it's the silly, stupid, fascinating, weird, wonderful. They're my people, and more often than not, they're the geeky people as well.
I mentioned Betamax. For anybody older, that's the old version of a video cassette. Video cassette is an old version of a DVD. A DVD is not set in the clouds. Hello, welcome to another episode of Faith and Geekery, and one day I'll get the hang of all this stuff because
it's slick.
Good evening, Becca. How are you doing?
I'm so good.
I'm really not into the habit of this because usually when we run those titles, it gives me a moment to update social media, and I press my little button that does the Twitter thing live, and I just sat there. I didn't do anything. I've not shared it. I've not done anything. So I completely
danced,
forgot.
if that helps.
This is it. I was just like enjoying the moment of briefly, and didn't do anything.
Oh gosh,
Absolutely
these
anything.
credits, they're so good.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm a whiz.
I really wish it was so. Usually at this point we'll go straight into geeky news, but I feel as if we should be inviting Tim onto here, our guest for tonight, because he is an encyclopedia of geeky news, and was basically correcting us all last week, so we might as well have him on screen.
Might as well have him right here.
So good evening, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. I'm here to provide live corrections in real time
and input as you feel.
Of course, yeah.
But it's a pleasure to have you, Tim, and we'll come into kind of some of your kind of geekiness a little bit later. And we've got some people commenting.
No, that was all me.
No, it's just you. It's just you.
And Anna actually sent it out to everywhere. That's very
yeah.
Heck yeah.
And you're just getting the hang of this software too.
I just click buttons.
Yes. Jolly good. So we should come to geeky news, shouldn't we? So here we go. Again, feeling out of practice on this. Welcome to Geeky News. Tonight we have various things to talk about, and we have, first of all, should mention Great British Bake Off. Hopefully you're not watching at home because it's on now. But don't turn over now if you've just forgotten.
Yeah, but it's also because it's Channel 4. You never know, because they've now started doing uploading the episode before it goes live, before they broadcast it. So you can now watch some shows before they're actually broadcast.
That is geeky news. I did not know that.
But
we have we've got the new kind of Great British Bake Off. I'm sure you can pause it. You can come back to it. +1. Or kind of
don't pause us. That would be miserable. Don't take that advice here.
We won't spoil who won out of last year's cast, which is this photo.
Oh, is it this one? Oh, rubbish.
This is last year's.
Yeah.
This year's they've only just uploaded the full photo of all the contestants, all the bakers this year.
I should have known that was last year, and that's also last year's kind of.
I didn't actually see what their jobs are. Oh,
yeah.
They're all 20, apart from 6 of them.
That's old geeky news, then, isn't it? Really. Yeah. Let's move on very swiftly.
Geeky history.
New iPhone 15 Pro. Becky and I were in Leeds the other day, and I was like, "Gosh, there's a bit of hoo-ha around the iPhone, the Apple shop," and it was like they had all the little bollards out and people queuing, and I was just like, "What is this for?" And it's like, "Oh, another phone."
Is this the one that has the USB-C
ports
now?
Yeah. So the lightning adapter has gone, and it's now a USB-C port instead.
Complying with European law.
Yes, absolutely. But the thing is, I mean, I'm a big fan of Apple, and I was a big fan of the iPhone when it first came out. And I think I got the 3rd generation one because I wasn't that wealthy, and I think the thing is, at the time, the first couple of inventions of it were very clever and very good, and the way that Apple devices have talked to each other in the past have been very good. But I'm still now trying to kind of go, what unique selling point are you adding to this now? And I think, bless him, Steve Jobs, it was really good at the time to kind of go, let's rethink this and do it well. And now it seems as if it's just like, what have we got? We can add, let's add another camera, and it's just like, and I get it to an extent of where you could do like 3D stuff and otherwise, but I'm there kind of going, but how many more cameras do we need to add?
But I'm okay with that. So I now am not paying for my phone on my contract. I've paid for it, and the phone works. I don't need another phone. I don't feel. I like the fact that I don't now have that desperate, I'm feeling left out urgency of a brand new iPhone. That my iPhone now, which is an 8X, I think, works fantastically. And I think the last couple, I'd kind of got the new phone. I'd done that delicious moment of peeling off the seal, which is why I buy Apple products. And actually, that was where the excitement ended, because then my whole phone screen just transferred from one to the other. My icons were still all over the place and needed tidying up. And suddenly my old phone was now my new phone that looked exactly the same. So I don't mind.
I get a feeling, Becca, you like the ASMR unpacking videos that some people do, where they literally just have like ASMR peeling away the plastic.
I actually hate ASMR. I have a very visceral response to it. If it's not intentionally, if it doesn't have it in the title, I might really enjoy it. So I've been watching a lot of how do they make macaroni cheese in large factory type videos recently, and I don't mind the sound of that. It adds to the feeling. But if it's intentionally making sound for me to listening to the sound, it irritates me enormously. There you go. Slight tangent,
but sorry, I was now doing the social media posting. I think the thing for me though is I'd also noticed recently that Vodafone are kind of offering kind of longer kind of phone life, and so they're offering like a battery refresh. So kind of just running with other providers are available, but do you know what I mean? They're kind of offering to try and extend the life of your phone. So really going for that kind of ethical kind of longevity of devices.
I mean, we're kind of seeing this a little bit in we're kind of like tired on like the yearly cycle of a new phone, new model. We're seeing this in like, say, video games as well, like the yearly release of the new Call of Duty or the new Assassin's Creed or the new FIFA, which is now not called FIFA anymore due to contracting disputes. But like that, it's the same game every single year, and they've slightly tweaked it. It's the same game. And the old, one of the old Assassin's Creeds, they were still releasing DLC into the second year life of the new one that had just come out. So you're like, well, you're still getting content for it. It's still the same game. Like, you may have like tweaked the graphics slightly, or you got the current squads in, say, FIFA games, but you can download them straight away and you can, for free. So, but like we're seeing that with some developers who are now going, we need to kind of like slow down on this because people are just getting tired and like, well, I do have to get the new one every year.
I could go off on a tangent about computer games because I remember that. I mean, there used to be. No, I won't go there because it's about the kind of old devices and old platforms and how you used to be able to kind of release lots of games on one platform. On like the PlayStation was like bam, 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 and now it's like, oh no, we're not going to release one. We'll wait till the next game, the next kind of update of the console.
I mean, PlayStation 1 and 2. That was because they opened the software up, so literally anyone can make a PlayStation 1 and 2 game, and that's where you got like the whole market was flooded. It's only in recent years since like the PS3, Xbox 360 era, did they start locking down the proprietary software, making it like more restricted, and therefore because they've got like high costs to actually get access to that, it means you've got massive studios rather than indie developers doing it. Hence why you should always buy PC.
Let's move on. New trailer for the last series of Ghosts, and I'm going to say there was an awful lot of kind of speculation about the lights in the episode, and there's kind of when they kind of get I won't use the term that they used, but kind of like they kind of disappear, ascend into heaven sort of thing. Are we interested in that? Not interested in that? Yeah. But also interesting to hear that it definitely is the last series. So they're ready to go, sort of thing, which I think is.
I honestly thought they were going to finish on series 3. Like they kind of ended it in such a way that it's like, if it ended here, it would end. But I can't wait. It's also one of those series which, like, the US version of it as well has now been shown on the BBC, and the US version is on a par with the UK version.
Yeah, I have been watching the US version. I feel as if it's all right, but I think it's kind of not as. It's kind of a bit of a rebrand, and it doesn't feel as if it's completely there. But that being said, just earlier today, I saw the missing or the kind of not very popular American pilot episode of the IT Crowd.
Oh yeah,
and what's really weird is that they've got a new cast apart from Richard Ayoade, and he's saying the exact same lines, and you just look at him and going, I think you're feeling a bit dead inside because you're saying the exact same lines as the first series, but with new people around you.
And it's, they also had the guy from Community taking the part of Roy, I believe. I can't remember the guy's name. But yeah, you can see the photo, like there's like a still from that pilot, and it's like the more you look at Richard Ayoade's eyes, the more dead his soul looks.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, I'm sure he was given a lot of money to hopefully step into that role, but it was just like, wow, okay, this is a bit sad, and it really is exactly line for line the pilot episode, and he's like going, aha, oh, and it's just like, but it's not connected in, and it's just a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a shame, and at the same time, they're going
similar to the ill-advised US Taskmaster series.
Oh, I haven't seen the US one. I've seen the New Zealand one, which again is just like, yeah.
The New Zealand one, I think, is alright. It brings it its own charm. The US one was just the only contestant that was actually really good in that and got what the show was about. Was Freddie Highmore, who was British and therefore got the humour. Everyone else it was just save yourself life and don't watch it.
Let's keep on going with the news. I mean, this one I'm very excited about, and I'm really glad that it feels as if a lot of the fans are behind it as well, and that it feels as if there was going to be some negativity, and they're just like, "Oh no, actually, we are really excited," and I hope that doesn't downplay where kind of Jodie was and or how Jodie was appreciated. I don't want it to be like, oh well, we've got David Tennant back. Actually, I'm kind of, and Russell T Davies. I'm just kind of hoping that it's just kind of a reuniting phase, and we're going to go on to Ncuti Gatwa, kind of, and just kind of go on from there. Really, I don't want it to be like oh well, I wish we'd just cope with David Tennant forever now, because it's just, yeah. I think it was good, refreshing. I'm afraid I wasn't a fan of Chibnall. His writing, I didn't think did Jodie any justice whatsoever. I thought she was fantastic, but let down by writing. There was some really good inspiration, but it felt as if it just didn't gel together. It didn't come together. So it was good concept stuff, but poorly kind of executed. Whereas this, the adverts, everything, it's just like, yeah, the master's back sort of thing. As in, yeah, Russell T Davies is back at the he's back at the helm, and and they've also confirmed in those 24 hours that that Neil Patrick Harris is going to be the toy maker, and so that is a hark back to the very first incarnation of William Hartnell being the Doctor, and the story. I actually rewatched the toy maker episode. There used to be loads. I mean, like a whole kind of thing, but they've lost lots of the episodes, and they were going to. This is a courtesy of my friend David. They were going to bring it back until. It got cancelled in the 80s or whatever it was. There was going to be another toy maker episode, which then went on to the audio for Big Audio. And so to bring back the toy maker and with Neil Patrick Harris at the helm and everything we've seen in the advert, it just looks fantastic.
And the fact that they're now at Shield Tower, aka Avengers Tower.
It looks very Avengers Tower, isn't it? They've not even bothered, I don't think. They're like, what should we use?
I mean, you've got Disney. At least Disney are recycling their CGI. At least.
That's true. We should mention at that point about Disney and other things about the writers' strikes, and that it feels as if is it the directors or something they've gone so far, but people are.
So as of this morning, the writers of the writers' strike, they've come to a tentative deal. So that's why you're seeing some announcements of like writers announcing shows that they're writing, like they're planning to reboot the US office. The phrase from the headline was the first trickle from the fire hose is coming out because as part of the I know. As part of their.
Not sure the writers wrote that. Bring back the writers, damn it.
Well, that's the problem. They didn't have a writer to write that, so you know.
I don't know who wrote that. It wasn't a writer.
So as part of like the part of the contract disputes, writers actually aren't allowed to promote their own content because that'll give the companies advertising revenue, but it won't come to them. So that's where you see lots of actors not promoting movies. The example would be Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy, and I can't remember her name, Emily Blunt, that's it, and a few others walked out of the premiere because they got an announcement that SAG-AFTRA had gone on strike because any kind of promotion they can't get. And it's the same like if you're posting stuff you won't see actors posting about the stuff they're doing because they won't get the revenue from it. But as of today, the writers have come to a tentative deal. SAG-AFTRA are still striking, but they've just announced that they're now bringing in video game companies to the SAG-AFTRA strike. So basically, it means that they want to video game companies, same like movies. You're not getting residuals for game releases, and you're not getting really residuals for future sales. But also, it's the worry of AI coming into video games and like copying your voice or your likeness and repeating it at ad infinitum, basically.
It's strange though, is it? Because I mean, there's this fine line to walk. Because I remember the Toy Story kind of games where you're there going, "Wow, have they really got Tom Hanks?" And it's like, no, they haven't. They've got his brother.
Tom Hanks' brother,
yeah, and he's kind of like made a lot of money pretending to be his brother for the audio stuff that his brother doesn't want to do. And you're not going to go into what does that mean for those sort of actors who are kind of have been making a living sounding like and yet we're kind of complaining about AI, but actually haven't we been doing a form of this already?
I think the worry with that though was just coming into like, you know, because they are individual actors themselves, and it's, you know, James Earl Jones agreed to basically have his voice replicated for any future Darth Vader cameos, even after he dies, which great for Star Wars, maybe, but also his family won't get any of the revenue from it, and they'll just keep reusing his likeness. So,
should we move on? We'll move on. That was the end of
the news.
That was the end of the news. Yeah. Should we do the no? I won't do the video again. But then there's Geeky Gallery, which I'm just gonna have to flick all the way down to the bottom because I've done it in the wrong order. That's Tom's kind of pictures of that. I think we shared a little bit of it last week, or at least it was on the feed last week. And it's just looking on the detail on that is fantastic, really. I don't actually know what they are.
The
because I've
corks,
forgotten
Mark.
again. The ornamental corks.
Ornamental corks.
No.
They're Warhammer.
Sorry, Tom.
They're
Yes.
Warhammer. I'm not sure which faction they are, but
latest squad of minis.
I do love the paint job on them.
Imperial Navy breeches. Is that right? Is that right? Yeah, I think those are them. Yeah. Imperial Navy breeches. Which look very cool.
Good use of a cork.
Yeah. It's a lot of wine.
No judgment. No judgment from.
I feel as if
geekies.
we are a little bit quiet tonight on the old social media, so I feel as if everyone has gone to go and watch.
Boo.
I know. Is that it? Are we in
It
competition?
might also be because I'm actually in the video, not just randomly firing off.
That's true. We don't realise how much we talk to.
What's the show headline? Anyway, so shall we move on to talk about a certain quiz last week? I think the quiz was overshadowed that I didn't get a Firefly reference, but I think Becca, you did well, didn't you? I can't remember.
I didn't do too badly, actually. I think it was a broad enough spread.
Very good. So have you got some quiz questions for us tonight?
I have some quiz questions.
We,
I'm waiting for a jingle.
Yeah, sorry.
So good. Love a jingle. Okay, question number 1. Are you ready? Have you got your pens ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is based on one of the geeky things I like to do on holiday. And it is, what is the name of the enzyme added to milk to make cheese, Gromit? What is the name of the enzyme added to milk? I love cheese making.
Oh, good. What do you do on holiday?
I go to cheese factories and watch them make cheese. Anyway, question number 2. Leave it in there. Cheese, Gromit. In 2021, Arcane became one of Netflix's biggest shows. How many Emmys did it win? How many Emmys do you think Arcane
I don't even know what Arcane is. So this is going well.
Arcane is the cartoon anime on Netflix based on the popular video game League of Legends.
It's phenomenal. The artwork is even if you watch it on silent, it's
Emmy worthy. Is it Emmy worthy? How many Emmys?
How
definitely.
many Emmys did it win?
I think I'm lowballing it.
Okay. Question number 3. In which century is the science fiction space opera Battletech universe set? In which century is the science fiction space opera Battletech universe set?
Genuinely no idea on all of these so far. Anybody would like to help in the comments, please feel free. So I have
Question
no
number
idea.
4.
Don't actually, because that would be cheating.
That would be cheating. Question number 4. How many possible combinations is it possible to make using 6 standard 4x2 Lego bricks? How many possible combinations is it possible to make?
What do you mean? I don't understand you.
How many different structures?
Yeah.
Unique structures can you make using 6 4x2 Lego bricks?
So cubes. No, rectangles.
No. Any
the original Lego brick 4x6.
4x2, you said.
Sorry,
4x2.
Yeah,
you're changing it now.
No, 4x2. How many possible combinations do you think it's possible to make?
Oh, below as well. Is it on the set axis though? That's what I'm just. Oh man.
Any combination using the Lego fixing it. We're not using Sugru in this. Just using the 6 Lego bricks. How many combinations?
I'm going to write 1, but I have a feeling it's even higher.
I will give you a clue. When they put it into a computer to work out the combinations, it took a week to work out how many.
Did it take a week? Like back in the 70s?
That's a good question, actually. It's more recently.
Well, I'm now going high, really. I'm now going very
in 1974. I don't know. I'd have to find out when he asked that question. But it was after 1974. It was much more recently than that. After the quiz, I will share you the clip from the Lego Brickumentary.
I feel as if I keep on going higher and higher now. If it's going to take a week, then it's going to.
And the answer is not 42.
No, right? Okay, I've gone for 1. I'm not pleased with it. I feel as if I might get 0 for this whole session. So.
Maybe.
Okay, this is a multiple choice question. In his Captain Marvel cameo, which script is Stan Lee reading? Is it A, Generation X, B, Mallrats, C, Blade, or D, James Cameron's Spider-Man?
I didn't even need to have the options.
I think I know what it is, but it's interesting. Can you just say Spider-Man again? The way that you said it.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Oh,
I don't know what my accent is doing.
I don't know either.
That's the version of Spider-Man. We need Spider-Man from the north of England.
Yeah, kid.
Oh no, right, got webs on top
and
of
Mark allowed me a bonus question. Question number 6.
Well, I might get right.
By Fire Babies, that also has the words baby formula on it in the movie Pixar's Elemental.
So, can you start again?
What is drunk by Fire Babies that also has the words baby formula on it in Elemental?
I've not seen it, so I think this is going to bode very well.
I've got
Becca.
at least one.
At least one. Are you ready?
Is everyone else ready at home? All 2 of you?
It's all quiet on the front. Where is David? Right. Okay, you ready?
No.
So the enzyme added to milk to make cheese is rennet.
Oh, of course it is. I've got nothing, by the way.
Arcane won 3 Emmys
I put 7
and various other awards.
The problem is the Emmys have like loads. They have like loads of awards.
So 3 isn't a lot, but
it is a lot,
I've not won any.
It's all comparative.
It's more than I've won. BattleTech is set in the 31st century.
I literally put 41st.
How are you doing there, Tim? How many?
I am not doing well.
I have 0 so far.
Right, are you ready?
I don't think Becca should be allowed to do these quiz questions anymore.
It is possible to make 915,103,765 different combinations using just 6 Lego bricks.
I put 6.8 million.
I put 12k.
I started off
915,000. How many can you make? That would be a really boring Geeks Gallery. Question number 5. Stanley is reading
Mallrats.
He is
the Kevin
reading
Bacon. Not Kevin Bacon, the Kevin Smith series.
I knew that one.
Yes. Yay.
That's it.
And last question. It is the Fire Babies in Elemental drink lighter fluid.
Oh, I put lava.
I put coal.
So we've drawn there on one.
One
Out of six.
right answer. You call yourself geeks.
I haven't watched Elemental yet. It's one of the
haven't
things I
either.
want to watch.
Well, if you're not committed to keeping up with Disney, then you're just not keeping up.
I mean, Disney put an awful lot of stuff out at the moment.
Yeah,
they do.
I've been catching up on Osaka. I've been catching up on.
I caught the end of that the other day.
And
it's Elemental is based on the director's journey, I think, from Korea, which is quite. So it's quite an interesting, especially around kind of refugees and migration and what it means to fit in and what belonging looks like, and
That's pretty cool.
So it is. It's Disney, Pixar being quite clever in terms of storytelling and how we explore difference and otherness.
Yeah, cool. I think that's the end of the quiz. Should we move on to chatting to our guest now about the sort of geeky things that you get into, Tim? Get up to, or otherwise?
What geeky things? What don't I get into these days?
What would you like to share about first? Is it about tabletop things, or should we go for podcasts?
Well, it's both in the same. Last week, before I joined this very show, in the comment section, I recorded the first pre-recorded part of a podcast / stream I'm in.
Oh, cool.
Which has been a long time coming. We're pre-recording it because we're all cast in different parts of the world. So actually, let's not do it live. Let's do pre-record it. And we're doing a Pathfinder 2 stream, which / podcast. Which is, so Pathfinder is D&D.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining.
Pathfinder is D&D in the same way that the Methodist Church is the same as the Anglican Church.
Oh, okay. That's a really helpful analogy.
Right. So they both have...
For those of you that don't care about the Methodist Anglican differences.
Pathfinder spun off from D&D 3rd edition, so they have the same origin route, but one went off one way and one went the other.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
So yeah, we did the first one. It's a pirate one, so I quite like pirates.
I was about to say, what genre is that?
Who
like,
doesn't like pirates?
Is that steampunk pirates, or is it just kind of more medieval pirates, or somewhere, or just pirates?
It's a mixture. So we've got we have one of the pirates in the crew. One of the players is playing a like engineer, artificer, kind of steampunky kind of version. We've got someone who's going more like Moana route, like more natural druidic kind of thing, and you've got me,
heart of the ocean,
and you got me who's basically playing a Billy Connolly from Muppets Treasure Island.
Very good.
But yeah, it's really good. It's bringing in lots of different published modules and Sea of Thieves, which is a very good video game, which this week just launched its single-player servers, just after 5 years of being online. So yeah, that's coming down the line.
And if we were super duper excited by your piracy, where would we find that podcast?
It's not out yet. When it's out, I will let everyone know because we just started the pre-recording. But I am really it's been a long time coming. We got artwork for all the characters. And I'm really excited. It's been a long time coming. There's been lots of delays for various reasons, but it's just yay!
Oh, look at him! He's an excited little pirate.
So when it comes to kind of podcasting about it, are you kind of sharing about? Are you streaming as well as podcasting? So you're actually doing the game and then talking about it.
I think the plan is the guy who's hosting it, who's running it. He puts it on a stream, and he also puts it in a podcast version as well for those who don't watch the live stream. But again, one of the weird things was when we were planning on talking about what we want to do with the show and stuff, we spent honestly about an hour discussing how long do we want this to be per episode, So we like broke it down into okay, well, most TTRPG streams and podcasts either last an hour or go up to like 5 hours in length, and it's like, well, where's the sweet spot between listening to something that's quite short or it's too long where people just like drop out and don't re-listen, or if you've missed a couple of episodes, it's like, I've now got 20 hours of content to catch up on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite a lot. So yeah, we just went through and we've like worked that out, and I think we're going around the 90 minutes kind of thing, so the first episode's gonna be a little bit longer. But yeah, cool. So it's when it comes out, I'm gonna be really excited.
Technical question then: do you are you allowed to kind of share the mechanics of the game or those sort of things?
So
because I know that some are a little bit. So just for people who are aware that I think you've got to be a little bit careful sometimes, don't you, about what? So you've got to make sure you've got your own unique artwork rather than just like lifting. Stuff off
So the artwork we got has been commissioned and fully paid for. We got the copyright for it as well. The music and the stream layouts and the backgrounds and all that have been made by cast members or had commissioned scores made for it as well. And I think like all the like the artists and the musicians are actually getting paid fully for their stuff as well, which you should do. Nice. Always pay your artists.
Always pay your artists.
Like, actually, I'll see what I can try and do. If I can try and find it, I'm going to try and find.
I'm not going to get done for copyright.
You won't get done for copyright because we own it. I'm going to try and find the artwork for my character. If I can find it, because I'm just very excited about it. I've been looking at his artwork for months.
And do you know how long the kind of saga is going to be? Is it going to be saga? Is it a few episodes, or is it?
Do
you not want to commit?
the DM, the guy that's running it, he wants to do like 9 seasons. Like really long arc, really long campaign. Wow. He's like wants to plan like things long term and see what it looks like, and bringing lots of guest players to come in. So we have a different cast coming in every week with like 1 or 2 core people in there as well. So yeah, we're just we'll see how far it goes. If people like it and people listen to it, then great, we'll do more episodes. If it lasts 1 season, it lasts 1 season. I'm still going to have fun playing it.
Yeah.
And because the other big thing as well is like, because it's a piratey stuff as well, we've actually, as players and as a DM, like gone through some of the content that's in some of the material we might be using and sort of gone, okay, what do we as players feel comfortable engaging in, and what do we as players want to actually keep portraying? There's like the typical, piratey stuff that we know historically pirates did. What do we want to engage with, which is both like safe, and actually what do we want to say actually we're not going to engage in that, for example, slavery is one aspect that we're not actually touching on at all in the game, and we're actually it's one of the like in D&D like TTRPG safety rules, it's like it's in the world. We're not going to touch it.
This is it, isn't it? That kind of the tabletop roleplay stuff. You're inviting people to come in and into this kind of creative experience, this imaginative kind of play sort of thing, this journeying. And actually, I think it's really important to kind of let people know what you're kind of expecting, what they're kind of what they're likely to deal with. And I think there's you've kind of got the what's the sheet thing that you can do that you can kind of
consent safety tools.
So just share the sort of stuff that is like a red flag for you, or kind of green, or stuff that's amber that you're not as happy to play with. And so I think it is a good way to kind of embrace kind of people and kind of explore and explore and play together. And I guess that this is it. You never know where people are going to get. Good evening, Lydia. She's just joined us. It's that kind of going on a journey together, but not knowing the outcome, and therefore preparing as you go.
Yeah, and because we're pre-recording like all the episodes anyway, we're actually able to then put out content warnings. If anything does appear that we're like, okay, that might be an issue for someone or triggering for other people. So when we're putting out the episodes, we're actually putting in the descriptions of the videos and in the podcast, actually, content warning, this episode will contain, whatever. And, that's the thing we want to be very open and, for everyone to say, actually, if you want to watch this one, you want to listen to it and want to watch, fine, heads up, this is there. And actually a lot of podcasts I've been listening to for a while do this as a practice now, especially when they're touching on content which they know it could be triggering for some people anyway, which is always really good. If you're putting content out there that could potentially be triggering or upsetting for people, put content warnings out.
It's a fine line, though, isn't it, about spoilers and not spoilers? Like, I mean, obviously, like, for those who are frightened of, I'm going to use something trivial, just like, kind of, for those who are frightened of krakens, it's like you kind of got to phrase it right and just kind of be sensitive, but at the same time not give too much away.
So one of my favorite podcasts that actually does that quite well is a horror podcast that I listen to, that they're about to bring out their prequel sequel series called it's called the Magnus Archives, and the prequel / sequel is called the Magnus Protocol. And in all their show notes, because it touches on deep horror themes, including psychological horror and real world horror as well, but they do, in the show notes, they do content warnings for everything that could possibly appear in the episode. In the transcript, they link to the transcripts as well. So if people want to have a quick read through first and actually see how bad it is, they can without listening to it, because there is that aspect of more with podcasts than say with video content. It is deeply personal. Like it's in your ears, and you're kind of like embraced and surrounded by it, and it's a deeply personal thing. So if you've suddenly confronted without realizing something that is very triggering to you, like for example the sound of squelching, or
it's a good word,
like suddenly that happens in your ears, and you don't particularly like that, it's good to have that heads up ahead of time, and you can then decide, actually, is this the kind of thing I listen to with headphones, or is this the kind of thing where I just skip it, or listen with speakers with my emotional support manual nearby.
So I was just sharing a few bits from Lydia, really, and it is important to kind of be aware of people. And I haven't thought about a squelch warning there before, but again, it's important, isn't it, to kind of I think for me that it kind of also reminds me of kind of, well, we do that with cinemas, don't we, where we kind of go to watch a film when you don't fully know what you're going to get, and hopefully there will be kind of places where you can look for kind of bios and things like that. But I think for me, what I'm going to kind of interject a little bit about faith in there is that even in like a film, there are ways in which you can watch something and you can be affected by it and kind of go, oh wow, I've never seen that in that way before. And it helps you kind of explore kind of a God, kind of a Christian theme, and I think I find D&D and kind of those sort of things also have that. You kind of have that sandbox play, that kind of option to explore a theme and to enjoy it, and to kind of explore something that you may be uncomfortable with or comfortable with, or you can go through and look through it through someone else's eyes as your character. And so like the danger is kind of one step removed, but also it gives you an opportunity to kind of deal with stuff at a bit of a distance, or I think you can also just come across stuff and go, oh, I haven't even thought about this being interesting or as deep as what I've suddenly kind of, you have that dawning realization. Lydia's put Encanto was that for me. He told me something about myself in a deep and godly way.
I've been listening to some other podcasts in general, and like car journeys to work in the morning, it's an hour and a bit to get there. So the nice length for a certain podcast to listen to. And actually, some of the podcasts I'm listening, like I'm like driving there and going, I might link them in the chat. Like Nomad Podcast is a good one for those who want to look at like faith and faith deconstruction and in general some really good stuff. And like listening to that and going, oh, they're talking about stuff, and this kind of makes sense to lots of stuff that's happened to me. Okay, this is something I should probably address at some point down the line.
Not while you're driving a car, maybe.
Like something while you're driving and go, oh yeah, no, right, this needs to be paused, and I need to put something else on and come back to that later while I drive.
And get pulling over very safely and pressing the right buttons and then
No. I shout to the well-known vocal assistant who comes with my phone and say, "Next song, please," or something.
That's very cool.
Which you pull over to write in,
yes.
don't you? Yeah.
Oh, I write in a safe and considerate way. Yes, jolly good.
Good girl.
So when you're leaning on the windscreen writing it. So,
on your dashboard, beeping your horn accidentally.
Yes. No, but I mean, yeah, I think these can be vehicles for other things, can't they? And I think this is where
literally.
I'm gonna quote my granddad though, because my granddad used to talk about people complaining about a bicycle and about a bike can take you away from church. But my granddad used to say, but you can also, a bike can bring you to church as well. And I think D&D for many years has been people going, oh, it's satanic and all this stuff, and look back over Stranger Things sort of thing as an 80s reminder of that. But actually, they have got there is a way, an opportunity to kind of explore themes at a little bit of a distance in order to kind of explore those things.
And like since I got into the world of D&D stuff anyway, like I weirdly met quite a lot of people who work in faith spaces and played games with them quite quickly, and from different faith backgrounds and heritage traditions as well. So like just weirdly like sat down playing D&D with a former Spanish Catholic priest and playing like a weird like a psychotropic future D&D game with like Cthulhu Mr. Rogers and like druggy hobbits.
Cthulhu Mr. Rogers.
Cthulhu and Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, combined. It was like this setting was based on like Black Sabbath artwork from their albums and that kind of like 70s drug-addled stuff, but set in a post-apocalyptic future. So there was like a Cthulhu Mr. Rogers who lived in a cave for like centuries and like could remember the before times and was just like, I'm really happy to see you. It was also like nomadic hobbits who basically like went to Burning Man and never came back. It was a weird game. I loved it. It's where I first found my love for like doing Excel spreadsheets for D&D games.
I think we need to crown Tim now the king of all things geeky. Well, we're going to have some level of award rating and ranking of how geeky.
I mean, like, if you really want me to do a deep dive into it, I do have an Excel spreadsheet for my D&D game that I'm playing on Sundays. That I've been tracking the data. It's still going. We're still level 7.
Screenshot it and share it on Discord. Which means for those that are following closely, now that you're super excited about that Excel spreadsheet, you need to come and join us on Discord in order to see Tim's spreadsheet.
To see this
exciting.
ridiculous spreadsheet
Oh, you've shared your pirate a bit earlier, haven't you?
Yeah,
on Discord as well.
did. I will tell you his name as well.
I mean, is it Scarface?
No, it
Snaky
isn't.
Tatman?
Nope.
Did
glad
Doctor
it's not
Who
just-
not combine Cthulhu and Mr. Rogers when they created an ood? Is that not exactly
Oh.
what an ood is?
Possibly actually. Where did that?
There are no original thoughts.
Sorry, Lydia's, but I found a new respect for Excel this week after discovering some really very helpful formulae.
What were those formulae?
But she still doesn't love it though. Yeah, it serves a purpose, doesn't it? Really.
You can love your Excel sheet, but you cannot love your Excel sheet.
There we go.
True.
Name that movie.
I do not know that.
Truth About Cats and Dogs. For those of you that are just wrecking your brains.
There you go. That is the D&D spreadsheet I just posted,
Wow.
and that's not even all of it.
Blimey.
It is color coded.
Oh, I love a bit of colour coding.
It contains.
It was one of my favourite Red Dwarf episodes when Arnold Rimmer spends all of his revision time creating a colour-coded revision sheet and then woke up for his exam. Oh, look at that.
So it breaks down into character, into session, into how much damage was taken or dealt or whatever, and then we do the 10 session summaries, so we can look at the progression as we level up. And then I've done like the ratios as well, so we know.
Didn't you used to be like showing on Twitter about like how many rolls and things like this as well?
Yes.
How many kind of?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do like in game when like our DM needs to like run off and do something or like try and find some information. I do like the hey, here's now to a quick ad break with our sponsor Excel spreadsheets.
Wow.
So yeah.
You see,
it's a lot.
We don't do any of this in our kind of D&D thing. So if you're sat there kind of going, oh, is this what D&D is all about? Excel spreadsheets? No, this is what Tim does.
Here's the thing, right? So for the pirate game, one of the other players wanted to actually track the stats in that game, and I said, yeah, do that. I'm not doing 2 games. And he went, wait, you already track stats in your game? And I sent him that spreadsheet, and he went, would you mind if I just copied that list, because it is amazing? Like, yeah, go ahead, yeah, fine. Like it's like, it was like, by the way, here are my notes of like how I would edit this spreadsheet to make it better. So like, about 20 sessions in, I suddenly realized I should have been tracking how many rolls we made, because that would be quite good to know, like for like how many nat 20s and how many so percentage of your rolls would be natural 20s or natural 1s, or if your percentage to hit ratio was quite high versus your damage to taking ratio.
Do you have like shortcuts and things to this, or are you literally adding kind of extra things as you go along?
I might have to, because we're about to get to the end of session 50, and my session by session, my session arc table stops at 50, and that's only because the campaign that we're in, at the last campaign finished at episode 50.
Wow.
Because we just blew up Nordic dragon country. Anyway, as you do, there was vampires.
Fair enough.
Okay. And tunnels. Like yeah. So like I've only tracked it up to like episode 50. So I'm getting to the point where I'm like, this is sheet 2.0. I need to make sheet 3.0 and then bring some new stuff in. But...
Yeah, I was just asking because I did do Excel a long time ago, and a very long time ago. And when there used to be an Easter egg of a hidden game inside Excel, and it used to be a flight simulator, or was it a sea? Maybe. Oh, hello. An ocean simulator or something, and you'd have to type in certain code and it'll bring it up. So a long time ago, and you used to be able to then kind of create like a front page where you'd kind of import stuff just on one panel, and then that would automatically load stuff up onto the various pages. So you could have each of your characters kind of set up so that you just add the 4 damage there immediately, press enter, and it'll do a macro to send it already onto it. So you don't have to even look at it. You just know that it's doing it because you've set up the macro accordingly. So you don't have to flick around between worksheets either. So you just have it all set up with a button. So once you pressed it, you press enter, it disappears, and then you're ready to go again with another damage.
I did set up a sheet for a DM where we were doing a D&D school campaign which had exams. It had exams, like end of term exams, and I did have it set up so as part of the mechanics you could like pass or fail your test if you revised or cheated or something, and I managed to set up checkboxes which then gave you bonuses depending on what number you put in and what you rolled, and that would then work it all out in sheet.
I think for those people who don't know D&D and kind of Pathfinder, you can do like mini games within your kind of thing. So whilst it might not just be, and so like an example, there is an exam, and so you can kind of explore other ways of doing things, or you have a break from the normal kind of narrative and things like that. You can sort of say, actually, here's one way of doing it, but actually, if you're a little bit bored, even as a DM or GM sort of thing, kind of going from one place to another, you can sort of say, actually, rather than just rolling to see what you come across, you can actually say, well, on this journey, let's you're going to be fast paced. Why don't you roll to see how many kind of times you stop, or let's make a game of it. And so you create this kind of different engine to work out the dice rolls, use the dice rolls for something else.
So we brought in the mechanics in this campaign recently from the Blades in the Dark toolset, which is like another D&D-esque system, but it's not, but it is, where it's basically a heist-based system. And as part of the heist, you can have like the Steven Sonnenberg like screen cut to flashback to how you prepped for a certain thing to happen. Like very Ocean's 11-esque. Like, oh, they made a copy of the Vault, and then it's not the right Vault. How did they get the copy and all that?
Spoilers.
But for Ocean's 11, the one with George Clooney, not the one with Frank Sinatra.
I didn't get it. I didn't get there in time. Sorry.
but it's part of that. Like they have like time segments within that mechanics, so you can you are running away from the law. What are you doing to prevent the law from catching you? And while the law are doing things at the same time. So we had about 20 sessions, weirdly, but the space of one in-game week, where we were planning what we were doing in each of those segments to make sure we weren't getting caught by the town guards, while at the same time planning a break-in of a prison.
Yeah. I think we're nearly kind of up for time, but I think it's important I find that all these whole mechanics thing still evolves usually around some dice and otherwise.
Yeah.
And this is what is humorous for me, is that I am renowned for being a rubbish roller of dice. And so when we were setting up health, whether I've said this before, when I was setting up the stats, our DM Tom was just like, we'll just roll the dice and we'll give you the stats. And I genuinely picked up the dice and rolled, and I got all ones. And he was like, let's not do that, shall we? Everyone else was rolling really well, and they were adding it to the base number and all this kind of stuff, and I just rolled all ones. And he's like, oh man, I feel bad. I really am. Yeah. And so all these mechanics always will come down to some sort of factor of chance or choice.
Here's the thing: as a character, I would much rather fail a dice roll than succeed, because failing a dice roll allows for you to have more character development versus having oh, I'm amazing at everything, I'm always succeeding. Well, actually, no. You failed.
I would like a balance, because otherwise, my very first character, I was like, and it's really interesting how we talked about D&D and kind of the way that we've compared characters. It's about you kind of to help the narrative, to help create things, we use other existing characters. So you sort of already reference other sort of type people that they are. And for me, that took me a while to get into that idea. And whilst I wasn't trying to copy a direct copy of something, I was there kind of going, oh, right, this character, how does this character feel? Actually, it really helped me by kind of copy and pasting a few ideas together and creating their own character. And for me, my very first character, I was like, he's going to be a sorcerer. He's going to be so excellent. He's going to be brave. He's going to be strong. And the dice rolls came, and the dice rolls came, and the dice rolls came. And I was like going, he is an incompetent sorcerer. He is like Rincewind from Terry Pratchett. He thinks he's really good, but he is shockingly bad. And then he died because wild magic table. He was a wild magic sorcerer, which basically, for anybody who is still watching at this point, you kind of every encounter, you roll your D100, and there's
a really lovely. Oh, hello,
a D100, and it was kind of got
the wild magic table is amazing. It is like brilliant.
And it's there for random stuff to happen, whether like a flump appears and just bobs around your head, or you teleport randomly in this encounter when you're trying to fight somebody. This one was a fireball centered on the wizard, and he wasn't a very high level wizard, and he died instantly. It nearly took out the whole party. Fortunately, there was an NPC just around the corner who was able to drag all the rest of the party out. And it was almost as if it was planned that there was an NPC there just to help rescue the fallen heroes.
I know I've said this before in other places. For the first stream D&D game I was in, I was playing a cleric, gnome cleric. It's the only time I played a cleric, because I make it a thing to not play clerics, because it's a bit on the nose for me. So I was playing a gnome cleric. First roll I did in this 2-part, like 6-hour-long stream was rolled against a Banshee Scream. I rolled a nat 1, instantly died. I went right straight into like doing death saves. First one, I failed. Second one, I succeeded. Third one, nat 1, that counts as 2 death saves. My character's instantly dead, having done nothing. And I was in the middle, this is like within the first hour of the first part of a stream. So suddenly, I'm now having to create a brand new character in the middle of a live stream with my face still like this on the screen because they couldn't remove it. It was like slowly going. At the same time, though, like my character's body was then used by the rest of the party in really creative ways, Swiss Army Man. And it's amazing, Becca. You should watch it. Alongside
on that note,
Tim's body was used in weird and creative ways. Okay.
Oh, blimey. Well, thank you, Tim, for tonight. And I'm thinking of some sort of kind of outcome and conversation a bit to end on with this. And I feel as if it's like our thought for the episode. Becca, have you got anything?
Not now.
No.
Give me, another half an hour. Talk some more about Excel spreadsheets.
No.
Come join us on the Discord if you ever think of a summary of what you've got from this episode.
Well, I think it would be very good to mention the Discord, because that is where we kind of gather things, where we've got like an extended community. If you're playing, watching catch up, and no spoilers about Bake Off, if you're playing catch up, then please do kind of be in touch, share geeky gallery stuff. But I do find that like D&D and kind of exploring things with podcasts or with these kind of kind of imaginative play stuff. It does kind of give us a bit of an opportunity at a distance to explore themes that we may not have considered or otherwise. There's a member in our household who I was about to say just generally leave it like that, but I better mention it is my wife because it's red-handed. The murder podcast, so it wouldn't be really good if any of my children were listening to that. Yeah, Becky kind of listens to that, and I find it fascinating sometimes. But they're kind of going, but I don't really want to watch all of it. I like it at a distance, and I think all of these things is quite nice to be able to close the door, be able to pause the episode, to be able to kind of step away. And even with kind of D&D and Pathfinder and stuff like that, you kind of have that kind of, you can look through that lens and put it down and kind of step away and go, you know what? And you're exploring themes that you may have ticked and said, oh, I'm fine with this, but you walk away and go, oh, actually, this is actually speaking to me a bit deeper, or it challenges me a bit deeper. And so I think we shouldn't just kind of throw these things out and kind of go, oh, it's not for us. Actually, it should be a case of saying how comfortable we are at these things, watching these things, listening to these things, playing these things, to help us explore themes that could maybe help us, deepen ourselves and kind of help reflect a little bit on who we are or who we could be, without having to actually fight a dragon or a Cthulhu Mr. Rogers.
Or use a dead body in interesting ways.
Indeed. Bless you, Tim. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to throw you off. So,
okay, bye.
Bye. I believe, Lydia, you've come on, and you might be on next week, you're hoping. So you might be coming to share with us. So looking forward to that. And you've said, no one talks about Discord. No.
We don't talk about
maybe they
Discord.
do. Oh,
It's not the earworm, because that's the earworm we might hear. Curses.
No. Interestingly, I used to wear this for dressing up as Bruno, and I've still got poncho bits all over it, and it's for my friend's birthday party. Anyway, that's a tangent.
There you go. Maybe there is room to have a fully sung episode one day, Mark.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, this is always the case.
Yes, and folks, it is really this simple. Just to get in touch with us, as long as you've got stable Wi-Fi, headphones, and a webcam, and a computer, obviously, to plug all those things into, then you can come and join us and talk a bit about your passions and otherwise. And
we don't define geekiness, do we?
No, we don't.
Geekiness is defined by how you enjoy it, what your passions are, how you hold on to information, how you share it, and quite often how it makes you feel. It's that place of joy and playfulness. So if you do something that is talk aboutable on a public forum,
and doesn't involve anyway. Yes. Anyway, we're gonna call it for today, and we're just gonna talk very briefly to Tim offline. So don't go away, Tim. And thank you for watching, folks. And geek safe.
We love you, geeks.